So today I'm going to be talking about nationalism and the 19th century European Revolution. So let's begin. So what is nationalism? A strong devotion to one's country or region that develops with a group of people who share things in common. What is self-determination? The idea that people have a right to join together to form their own nation or government. What was nationalism born out of? The French Revolution. Nationalism can act as a force to blank or blank people, to unite or divide people. What is chauvinism? Extreme feeling of superiority that fosters intolerance and prejudice. What is jingoism? Extreme nationalism. What can jingoism lead to? Persecution through discrimination, ethnic cleansing, or genocide. What was Greece a part of when it was the early 1800s? The Ottoman Empire. What battle did they win? The Battle of Navarino. Were they successful? Yes. Who did Belgium revolt against, or what did? The Netherlands. Did they gain independence? Yes. Who was Poland ruled by? Russia. Did they gain independence? No. What was Hungary ruled by? Austria. Who led their revolt? Louis Kossuth. Were they successful? No. What was the Czech Republic ruled by? Austria. Did their revolt, was it successful? No, was not successful. But what was one positive result of their revolt? It forced Metternich, aka Clemens von Metternich, to resign. Who tried to establish an absolute monarchy in France in 1820? Charles X. What was the result? Riots caused him to flee to England. Who ruled after he did? Louis Philippe. Describe him. So he was liberal and popular amongst the middle class. What ended his rule? Radicals, led by Clementine and Blanc, overthrew him and established a republic. Who won the election and became the emperor? Louis Napoleon Bonaparte. What are some of the basic causes for Russian instability at this time? Failure to modernize, conflicts, political disunity, and nationalism. What are some examples of Russia's failure to modernize? It was still feudal and absolutist, it was not industrial, and reform efforts failed. What is one Russian reform movement that didn't really work out? So Alexander II ended feudalism, but he created more problems as the serf and the government owed money to the landowners, because what happened was the landowners, they were paid by the government to give up some of their land to the serfs, but the government and the serfs, who had nothing, had to pay them tons of money for it. So that's what happened, is the government and the people got into a lot of debt, while the nobles just kept getting richer. So that doesn't remind me of anything. Okay, so what was one losing conflict that Russia had at this time? The Crimean War. What happened? Russia failed to capture a large portions of the Balkans from the Ottoman Empire. What did it symbolize? Russia's political economic institutions were outdated. What revolution demonstrated their political disunity? The Decembrist Revolution. So what was that about? So it was a dispute over the succession of Alexander I between brothers, the moderate Constantine and the reactionary Nicholas I. So Alexander was then assassinated and Nicholas won. What is Russification? A policy of suppressing indigenous culture and promoting Russian culture. What are some reasons for the Ottoman Empire's decline? Disunity, failure to modernize, warfare, and nationalism. So we got some similarities. Why was the Ottoman Empire not unified? So there was its size that made it never got highly centralized, and the Sultan relied on provincial rulers to govern. Why did they fail to modernize? So Muslim leaders were very conservative, and as most Orthodox religious leaders are, so they opposed any change in modern ideas, and the church and state were combined. So these things together, just in general, church and state combined don't make for a modern society. So yeah, what were three wars that the Ottoman Empire got involved in? Greek independence, Crimean War, and the Russo-Turkish War. How did nationalism affect the issue? People sought self-determination, and the government oppressed people, leading to a genocide of the Armenians. How did nationalism affect Austria and Hungary? Austria-Hungary. So Emperor Franz Joseph was forced to divide the empire into two separate states. What conflict was Austria-Hungary involved in? The Austro-Prussian War. What are some impacts? Austria lost a German province, and it lost Italian provinces to Sardinia. What are three causes of the unification of Italy? Napoleon's conquests, Austrian influence, and nationalism. Like one example of this nationalism is that Italians wanted to gain the glory of the Roman Empire, which we should know. Who was the heart of Italian unification? Giuseppe Mazzini. Mazzini was the heart. So what did Mazzini accomplish? He organized Young Italy, and he wrote about unification. Who was the brains of unification? Count Camillo de Cavour. What was his role in Sardinia? He was a prime minister under King Victor Emmanuel III. No, the second. Emmanuel II. What was his goal? To strengthen it even more. So how did other Italian places in modern Italy, look to Sardinia? So they looked to them to lead unification because they had a very liberal constitution. Who was the sword of Italian unification? Giuseppe Garibaldi. So what did he form and where? He formed the Red Shirts in the Kingdom of Two Sicilies. What are the steps of Italian unification? So first Cavour allied with France and provoked war with Austria, gaining Sicily, Lombardy, Modena, and Tuscany. So second, Garibaldi overthrew the government in Two Sicilies and united with Cavour. Third, Venetia was acquired from Austria. And fourth, the Papal States were acquired by Sardinia. Who was the brains of German unification? Otto von Bismarck. What was his role? He was the Prime Minister of Prussia under King Kaiser Wilhelm I. What elite class was Bismarck part of? He was a junker. What was Bismarck's political ideology called? Realpolitik. What is it? It's the politics of reality. It follows the nation's best interests. It involves power diplomacy and blood and iron, which is army and diplomacy used to get what you want. So who was the heart of German unification? Johann Fichte. What did he do? Wrote about unification and introduced the pure race theory. So you can see some foreshadowing there. So who was the sword of unification? Helmuth von Moltke. What did he accomplish? He created a dominant Prussian army. What are the steps of German unification? Number 1, Prussia allied with Austria to declare war on Denmark, and they gained Schleswig. Second, Austria and Prussia go to war over Holstein. Prussia dominates all northern provinces, and the German Confederation is formed. Third, there was the Franco-Prussian War. Prussia convinced the southern Catholic provinces to join the Confederation for protection from France. And France was defeated badly, and France lost Alsace and Lorraine to Germany. So, what are two nationalist groups in India? The Indian National Congress and the Muslim League. What was it called when the British killed hundreds of protesters in India, sparking riots? The Amritsar Massacre. What's it called when Indian soldiers for the British rebelled? It was called the Sepoy Rebellion. What is Zionism? Jewish nationalism and a Jewish movement to acquire a nation in Canaan. Why was Zionism developed? As a response to anti-Semitism in Europe. Who founded it? Theodor Herzl. It's spelled Herzl, but you say it Herzl. What were the Balkans controlled by in the 1800s? The Ottoman Empire. What happened when they were able to leave the Ottoman Empire? Like, what was Europe's response to that? So as a response, Russia, France, and Austria sought to acquire land from the Balkans. That's why they were called the powder keg of Europe. So what country also gained independence? We got Greece, Montenegro, Serbia, Romania, and Bulgaria. What is Pan-Slavism? A desire to unite to a common Slavic nation. What is one nationalist group in the Ottoman Empire? The Young Turks. What did they want to do? They wanted to create a powerful modern nation in Turkey. Who led the Young Turks? Kemal Mustafa Ataturk. And what did he do? He was the first to rule after World War II. So I hope that this helps you study, and see you next time.